Hello and welcome to the first tutorial that accompanies the Knit Stitch Hat Knit Along. The first thing you need to know when you're going to make this double knit hat is a good two-color cast on. I have two here, two different options. This one is just a backwards loop cast on, which I quite like. I think it's kind of cute, but a lot of my test knitters and students over the years have not enjoyed this at all. So I have switched to what I'm going to show you today is the two-color tubular cast on, which is a little more work, but it's a nice polished finish. So we're going to start with two colors of worsted weight yarn, and I'm just going to make a slip knot. I am using, I can't make a slip knot this morning. I am using Why Not Fibers Steady in Sweet Potato and Blue Jean Baby. And these are going to be the colors I use for my hat. So I'm going to start with making a slip knot, and just like a long tail cast on, I'm going to insert my index finger and my thumb in between the two yarns and pull them apart. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my needle underneath the thumb yarn, over top, and grab the index finger yarn and underneath them both. Then I'm going to do basically the opposite. Over the index finger yarn, down around and grab the thumb yarn and underneath them both. So I'm always going to go furthest to the outside under the thumb, furthest to the outside under the index finger, and down, swoop down underneath them both. Index finger, thumb, underneath them both. So you can see I'm getting alternating stitches. Under thumb, grab the index finger yarn, underneath them both. Around the index finger, grab the thumb yarn, and underneath them both. So I'm going to do a few more of those. Under the thumb, over the index finger, and underneath them both. Under the index finger, over the thumb, and underneath them both. So I started with orange, I'm going to end with blue. Now, if you're knitting in the round, like on the hat, you can turn and start knitting in the round. But if you're not comfortable with a two-color tubular cast on, and it gets twisted, it can be hard to figure out what's what. So I recommend doing the first two rows in flat and then joining it in the round. So that's what I'm going to do for now. So we're going to start with blue. I want to keep a tight hold on this orange though, because the twist here is all that's holding that last blue stitch on, and you want to make sure that you're not going to lose it. So I'm going to keep a tight hold on that orange yarn even though I'm knitting with the blue yarn. So in the first row, and only the first row, you need to go in the back of the stitches as you knit them. Making sure you're keeping a tight hold on that orange yarn. Pull through, and ta-da. Now I'm going to take both yarns to the front. Slip the orange stitch, both yarns to the back. Knit through the back loop with just the blue stitch. Both yarns to the front, slip the orange stitch, both yarns to the back, knit the blue stitch. Sorry for the dog barking. Both yarns to the front, slip the orange, both yarns to the back, knit the blue through the back loop. Continuing on, knit the blue, knit the blue, move the orange, and then when I get to the slip knot, I'm just going to slip that off. I'm not going to pull it out yet. That's fairly important. So also you can see that my orange stitch that I've been slipping isn't quite lovely. So just take and give a tug to that, and that straightens out the stitches, the yarn that was a little loose. And then it syncs up quite nicely. So now I'm going to turn it around and do the next row. I'm still going to leave that slip knot in place because right now it's the only thing holding that orange stitch together. So I don't want to tear it out too early. So then I'm going to do the opposite. I can knit through the front loop as normal in the second row and then all subsequent rows. So I'm just going to do the opposite, or basically the same as what I did before, but with the orange, knit the orange, bring both yarns to the front, slip the purl stitch, knit the orange, bring both yarns to the front and slip, knit the orange, etc., etc. Then when I get to the end of this row, I can start knitting in the round and use, there's a tiny little bit of a gap, but it's not that big of a deal that you can't just sew it up with your ends, as you do normally when you cast on anything and knit in the round. So I'm just going to get to the end here and then show you, and then slip the last stitch in the purl, and then you have orange stitches on one side, blue stitches on the other side.